think we have most of us. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and just do a quick attendance. So I see Elizabeth, myself, Yana, Jen, Kimberly, Benny, Jeremy, Teresa, Sherry, Colleen, Eileen Rooney, Faith, and Maureen. So it's nice to see you all. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge what happened in Wakefield today, and just ask that everyone keep the family of the woman who died and the first responders, that you keep them all in your thoughts. If you don't know about it, I don't want to go into detail right now. You can, it's in the Boston Globe. It's on the media, so you can find out what happened. But we lost a Wakefield resident and a member of the Wakefield Public Schools, a staff member of the Wakefield Public Schools today. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and ask you all to keep them in your thoughts. So thank you for that. Do we have any members of the public who would like to say anything? I think that would be Eileen, if you want to. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I actually just want to say thank you for letting everyone let me participate in the MLK presentation. So it was great getting to know everybody. So thank you so much. It was really wonderful.
Yeah. And I want to thank you while we have you here. Thank you very much. It's nice to see you face to face after just seeing your name in emails. So thank you so much for your willingness to volunteer and to take part in this event. And we will definitely get to it. I'm excited to talk about it. So thank you very much for being here and for your participation. Let's see, anyone else? Okay, so going to number 3, the approval of the minutes from the December 15th, 2020. Did anybody have any edits that they wanted to make to the minutes? Nothing, okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes then?
So moved.
Okay, and
second.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay, Elizabeth has stepped away. Jen?
Oh, aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. And myself is a yes. Elizabeth, have you gotten sworn in?
No, I haven't.
All right.
A huge part of that is that I'm avoiding being in any buildings anywhere. And I'm like back into feeling like I can do that, but I actually had like a major health situation in my family that meant I couldn't go in any buildings.
No worries.
I was sworn in the driveway. You don't have to go indoors, they'll come out.
That is so good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for that piece of.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand. Okay, Kim.
I yes.
Benny?
Yes.
All right. Jeremy?
Yes.
All right. Teresa?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
And Faith? Maybe away for a second. Okay.
She might have stepped away.
She might have, yeah. Okay.
There we go. She's
Okay.
unmuted. Oh, no.
Okay. Faith, if you're there, if you want to approve the minutes, you can speak up now. Okay. Okay.
She wrote in yes.
Oh, okay. Great.
Chat.
Thank you, Faith. All right. So those are.
Our audio's not working. And Nicole's here now, it looks like. I don't know if this is our Nicole.
Yes, I'm here. I'm having trouble on my. I approve.
No worries. All right. Thank you. Okay. So those have been accepted. Going to number 4. So I know last month we had talked about adding in some language to the policies and procedures around having new members go through the new member orientation. So did everybody receive that? Do you want me to pull it up on my screen?
Could you just read the statement again? I did see it, but could you just
Sure.
read the statement to be added?
So yep, under the commissioner roles and responsibilities, I added a new number 7, which says, upon appointment, a commissioner shall take part in a new member orientation previously approved by the commission. So that was just some simple, straightforward language that this would be an expectation and a responsibility of new commissioners. Does anybody have any edits that they would like to make to that?
Should we put a time frame on it, like within the first 30 days or 60 days or whatever?
I'm certainly open to that. I would make it maybe a little longer than 30 days. Does 60 days seem reasonable to people? Any objections to that?
60 days sounds reasonable to me.
Okay,
That sounds great. 60
Okay.
days sounds.
so I'll change it to upon appointment and within 60 days.
Or just within 60 days of
Within 60
appointment.
days of appointment. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Within 60. All right, so within 60 days of appointment, a commissioner shall take part in a new member orientation previously approved by the commission.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that language to add to the policies and procedures?
I'm unmuted, so I'll approve. Motion
Okay.
to approve.
All
A
right.
second.
Second. Thank you, Nicole. All right. Going in order how you appear on my screen. Myself, yes. Jen?
Yes.
All right. Kim?
Yes.
Benny?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And Faith. All right. Thank you for the yes in the chat. Faith. Okay. All right. So that is approved. Great. All right. So moving to number 5, the debrief of the event. So I want to hear from anyone that wants to say anything about the event. I want to thank the subcommittee so much. It really was an incredible, incredible event. Absolutely. A round of applause. Yeah, I watched it with my family yesterday, and it was really inspiring. It was great to hear from different people in the community. It was, yeah, I loved it. So if anybody wants to say anything in terms of what they loved about it, anything that anyone wants to say, now is your opportunity.
I especially enjoyed listening to people on the street. Just the people outside of our orbit talking about how they felt living in Wakefield. It was wonderful to hear that.
And I want to thank, I know Benny was doing all the posting of all the trivia questions leading up to it, but whoever came up with all those, I thought that was just a great way to have people stay engaged through us, really built up to the event. So I thought that was a great tactic, and I thought it worked well.
I think if I can just chime in, I think that was our version of the scavenger hunt. So we came up with that as an alternative because the scavenger hunt logistics was just not going to happen. And we just, as a subcommittee said, let's do this. And then we kind of parsed them out. So I enjoyed that part because I got to learn about organizations by putting those descriptions together, for some of them, my subset. So that was pretty cool. So that was very organic, right, Benny? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I think it was nice, the pandemic, I think, motivated us to think of new and different things to do. And that was one of them. How do we get people engaged in an event that they're not actually even going to go to, So that was cool. And I just want to give the shout out to Faith, because that video that you mentioned, like seeing people on the streets, was like totally her brainchild. And she and Vanessa filmed it, edited it, did all like everything. That was like totally totally her. It was pretty great.
It was good. It was great.
My kids watched it and they're like, why are they holding the phones out to people? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's where the microphone is.
Microphone.
Right.
A micro cell phone. And I'll say a shout out too to WCAT. They were super helpful and accommodating of our, kind of not meeting their deadlines. It was good.
I also,
Right.
sorry.
Go ahead, Colleen, go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy. No, I just wanted to, Sherry, I thought the same thing. We've mentioned the end in the interviewing the just people who were walking around. I loved how it happened organically, and everyone really had a different answer and a different perspective that they were coming from. But I have to, shout out to our students and our honoree, of course. Just so impressed by the way that they handle themselves, the way that they engage in, Maureen, your moderation of their question and answers. I love hearing them speak, and of course all of our honorees, but coming from, where I'm coming from, I'm just so impressed that these are our student leaders and that they are leading sort of new and uncharted territory within the high school. So Faith, that is you and your peers who are doing so much work there. And also a shout out to our students that were able to be highlighted with their art and their poetry, and music will come back, right? But that was so nice to see, because I'm not sure how we would have seen that before, right? And Benny, like you were talking about things that have come out of this that wouldn't have if they weren't during a pandemic. And there are students in there that we may not have heard from before. Sometimes we know the students that are involved in a certain group, but that sort of opened up the sort of the parameters of who we were hearing from. And that was really nice to see. That's our student population that are speaking with their voices. So well done. I appreciate all that you did, the subcommittee. It was wonderful.
Yeah. And as much as I enjoy the pomp of the formal event that we have in person, the interaction during this event and the naturalness of it and the spontaneity of it really, I think that even when we start doing things live again, we should maintain portions of this, because the spontaneity and I go to so many Zoom meetings and not many have an effective interactive portion and this had several. So it was really very well done.
Yeah, I definitely think there are some things that we should keep for future years. It's cool.
Those interviews.
Yeah, I like the interviews too.
Yeah. Are there things that people think, I mean, I guess it's hard to compare or plan for next year, but is there any feedback for things that we could do better or differently?
This is a technical thing. Whoever the camera person was during the initial student portion, I don't think they were using a tripod because it kept on moving. Plus, I heard a dog and furniture moving in the background.
Yeah, those were all self-recorded, so we're not.
Okay. I thought that was WCAT.
Oh no, people just recorded themselves and then emailed them.
Okay, that explains. My house is full of tripods. I am willing to lend tripods to people if they need it for something like this.
I have microphones too.
For other self-recorded things that we do as the year goes on too, one of the things that I do is that I start everything with hey, there are going to be hiccups because we're doing this from home, and just bear with us and use that as a time to take a breath and relax, which then sets up just the expectation that there's going to be things like shaky camera and a dog in the background.
I also want to give a shout out to Teresa, who did some kind of magic whirlwind of things to get all the actual awards to the awardees on the day of the filming. So, which involved like getting them printed out, having Steve Mayo sign them all, having Maria sign them all, and then driving them to everybody's house, including driving to Rainier's house in Boston. And then there was this, I just like love the moment in the what do you call it? The award like conversation where they were all like, here's my award.
I know. I
I
know.
thought it
Marie
was
was like,
great.
what?
When I was like, oh, we failed as an HRC by not getting you your awards. And they're like, nah, look. Yeah. I really like the interview. I mean, I know, it had been mentioned before that the formal kind of speeches get a little old, and, you have all the politicos speaking. So you have, the elected leaders speaking. And I just thought the panel discussion, it was such a great discussion. And so that subcommittee, all of you did just such a great job. It was like such a fun hour to watch. I mean, it is one of my favorite events, and I miss not being in that auditorium and seeing everyone. It's kind of the kickoff of the new year, but it was really like, I just sat and watched it, and I feel like I learned so much. And I just, June doesn't seem like that long ago, but it seems like long ago. And just to kind of think of those moments and those peaks of like where we are and where we've been as a community was really great. So I really enjoyed it. The one delta is Wendy told us. Wendy was one of the awardees and also runs the Wakefield adult choir, that if we had given her notice, she could have put together something, because they're doing singing by Zoom. And I was like, 4 days, like, what do you mean? And she was like, no, we need more notice. So I really, they usually sing every day. I know instruments are probably not so great, but they were really excited to sing again next year, and the songs are great. And I don't know, I think there's this kid named Max who probably stole the show. I don't know who he's related to, but yeah, it was great. Everyone, I mean, the new subcommittee members, you guys just did such a great job. So
Yeah, one thing that this is a minor thing, but just because I'm a musician and I pay attention to the musical stuff, and this is not a disparagement of WCAT at all, but there are so many great tribute songs to MLK that while the art is playing, like if we do that again next year, it would be great to have some of that music as the background, either that or like audio of his speeches, something like that, to kind of tie it all together. But what they did was phenomenal. So I have no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, we had some like hiccups with the music situation, which I for sure would never have thought of. This is like, I keep learning things as we're doing recorded Zoom events, which is the music has to be in the public domain.
Yes.
Which like some stuff is obviously, and some stuff is not. And I don't know like for any particular tribute songs or anything, but I'll say Faith put a lot of work into editing the what do you call it? The like that interview compilation, and it had a great song on top of it, which he told us we had to take out. The WCAT people, unfortunately, it was not public domain music.
Yeah, anything that is a tribute song is not going to be in the public domain just because of how new it is, and the new is like, decades old, can still be quite new. But one of the things to keep in mind with regards to that for like anything that we do for the remainder of the year is that a lot of musicians have been really generous with giving permission for use of things or making things really affordable to use. And so we can take advantage of like reaching out and asking and getting that permission directly, which in pre-pandemic times was just sort of impossible, but now people have made really easy.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point that you raised. Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just checked on the YouTube for WCAT, and it's 364 views, so that's pretty good. So awesome. I applaud my fellow committee members and subcommittee members that, it was great working with you guys, and it came together nicely. So
Thank you. It was great. It was fun. Poor Benny. I know I harass her a lot with emails, but I'm for next time, I think I'll be better. It was good.
Great.
There's
Fantastic.
a learning curve, certainly.
Definitely.
Especially doing it virtually. Yeah.
There was a couple things that the committee wanted to wrap up today. One is, so the Facebook thing, the daily Facebook post, there's a prize for that. And so we can draw the names out of this bowl if you want. Look at me with my bowl of names. We thought we could do it in this meeting as a nice little wrap up. And the other thing, I hope it's okay that I didn't put this on the agenda beforehand, but we decided as a subcommittee that we would give out these prizes. So there was 3 $25 prizes to the students who submitted art, and these 3 $10 prizes to the people who got guests on the Facebook page. And so I was wondering if I can propose for the HRC to reimburse me for having bought those prizes, even though we didn't discuss it ahead of time.
Yeah, and I had given Steve Mayo a heads up, asked him about that, and yes, we can take a vote to retroactively reimburse you for the money spent for the gift certificates. So, do I have a motion to reimburse Benny for the gift certificate costs for the event?
I move that we reimburse Benny for the Martin Luther King Coretta Scott King 2021 virtual celebration awards.
All right. And do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. So taking a quick vote myself, I vote yes. Jen?
Yes.
Kim?
Absolutely.
Benny? I don't know if you can vote.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'll recuse myself.
Okay. Jeremy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Sherry?
Of course, yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And Faith?
Got a yes in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So that is so moved. Congratulations, Benny. We will get your reimbursement. So if you want to email myself and Sherry, we can reimburse you out of our line item budget.
Yeah.
That should be coming through. So
And should I draw these names? So
yeah,
exciting.
definitely do the names too.
Okay.
Want a drum roll?
Yes. Okay, one name is Brian Fox.
Congratulations, Brian.
This is so funny. You guys probably know who a lot of these people are. They're just like mystery names on the internet to me, some of them. This one is Patty Rooney Pesaturo.
Okay, congratulations.
And this one is Joy Jocelyn Smosk.
All right.
So what do you think I should do about, should I just Facebook message them from the HRC account?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
So let them know they won and figure out how would be the best way for me to get the gift cards to them.
All right, great. Congratulations to Brian, Patty, and Joy. Thank you for participating, and thank you, Benny, for running that and for bringing your bowl of names. All right. Okay.
Benny, just
Anything else?
to add, if you want, I think you can leave them at town hall with their name on it and just tell them they can go there to collect them, like there's a greeter now at town hall, if that just makes it easier for you, because I pick up a lot of stuff there that's town stuff. So instead of you driving around and,
Yeah, good idea. And so I could just leave it with the greeter and give the greeter their names or something like that?
just put their names on an envelope and just say that they're going to come and I told them to ask you for it.
Okay,
Great.
sounds good. Thanks.
Right. Okay. Any other comments or anything else about the MLK Coretta Scott King event?
I just had a question. So I know for the students, we also had the gift certificates. Benny, is that gonna go to the middle school?
Yeah, I brought those over already.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
I think they were gonna announce the winners in their, what's
Get
that
up,
thing they
Galvin.
do? The morning thing?
Yeah, get up, Galvin.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Goog. Goog is not a very good acronym.
I know.
Anyway, yes. So I think so. I gave them to the guy. What's his name? Andrew
Andrew Sidroni. Yep.
Padroni.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was awesome. Yep.
So
Thank you.
Andrew's gonna get them to the students.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I apologize if you can hear the cacophony in the hallway outside of my office. Okay, so moving on. Faith, do you have any updates from the Black Student Union? And if your audio is not working and you want to write it in the chat or text me, I can give the update. Stay tuned, folks. She's writing it in the chat. Let me see. All right, well, she's writing that in the chat. Yana, do you have any updates from the Youth Council?
I don't have any updates from the last time that we like approved it or like talked about it, the warrior logo. But I don't really have any updates since.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of the logo, has there been any progress, or where do things stand in terms of the logo and the Youth Council's movement on that?
We presented it to school committee, and like we recommended it being changed, and I think they're still like discussing it, and that's where they're at right now.
Okay.
That's all we heard from.
Okay. All right. Colleen, is there anything else? I saw you nodding. Did you want to add anything, or no? If there's nothing else to add.
Just that it's coming, Yana. We continuously recognize the efforts of the Youth Council, and we want to be timely in our response. Over Christmas break, it was a little harder because we didn't meet as much, but it was spoken about in Committeeman Tom Markham's comments at the end of our last meeting that it be on our next agenda. So if that doesn't happen, it means it's coming to a subcommittee, which I may have heard a little bit about because I'm on the policy subcommittee. So I believe that we're trying to find like the right way to start the conversation and then land it in our larger meeting. So, but it was moved from Tom Markham that we start to get back onto it again after our break. So to be continued, but it is being talked about, and it's a priority. So thank you so much for your work.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you both for the update. Okay. And the MVPHC, I might screw up the acronym. I believe it's the Mystic Valley Public Health Coalition. So Catherine Dingra had emailed about just letting me know that if there's something that we wanted to partner with them on, that there's a possibility of getting support from them, because as they see, I sent you the excerpt of her email that she had sent to me, that they work around substance abuse and talking about the link between structural racism and issues involving addiction, and wanting to see if there was anything that we had in the works that we wanted to partner with on. So I just wanted to kind of put that on everyone's radar, if that's something that if there are programs that we wanted to try and put on related to that we could that there was a possibility of getting either financial support or partnering with them in some way. So I don't want to put anyone on the spot right now. I just wanted to let you all know of that possibility out there. So if anybody has any thoughts that they want to share now, please feel free to. Otherwise, just wanted you all to be aware of it. And just jumping back, Faith had said, we are currently just working towards Black History Month. we're still processing what we were planning. We are planning on working with the Wakefield Anti-Racist Group, but we are just in the brainstorming phase. I will find an opportunity for us to collaborate with the HRC for our Black History Month project. And she said, thank you. And Faith, I think I had seen on the Metco Facebook page, I think the fundraiser for Fuddruckers had been rescheduled. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was February 11th, but if you want to confirm that, I can, if you're not sure, and we can send another reminder out either on our Facebook page, or I can email everyone with the final date. But I think that the Black Student Union fundraiser had been rescheduled since it was canceled from the snowstorm back in December. Oh, yep, there it is. It's February 11th. So we have that confirmed. So Fuddruckers fundraiser, and I can share that post on our Facebook page to spread the word about that.
That's what I was going to say. If there's another, like a revised flyer that had that information on it, we could reshare that out.
Okay. Yep. I'll add that to the action list. I'll find that link. Yep. Yeah. And Faith, if there's anything, any support or anything that you need from us in terms of any activities or events for Black History Month, please let us know. Okay, so moving to number 6 on the agenda, the Communications Subcommittee update. Sherry or Jen, do you want to bring us up to speed a little bit on, or give us kind of a snapshot of what's going on? Oh, you're muted, Sherry.
Sherry, you're on mute.
I was just looking at my notes. Sorry about that. I'm going to be looking at my notes from, so we've met twice. And at the first meeting, we came up with some of our overall goals. And we already have minutes, and we will share all of this in writing with all of you. We came up with some overall goals and some methods and strategies for meeting these goals. And then we assigned to each of us some homework. So at our second meeting, we reported back to each other. And what we decided was we actually have almost more questions than we have answers. But the things that we've worked on so far is we've started a pretty comprehensive calendar of commemorations and holidays, not just Wakefield, but national, international, cultural, religious, cause, something that could be a real master calendar of the kinds of things that are concerns to our particular organization and other related organizations. And we're going to combine that with the Wakefield master calendar of events that are related to the kinds of work we do. And the other thing we want to do is we want to put together a pretty comprehensive communications marketing plan, develop a protocol for marketing the events and how, or our events or partnered events or other, the vehicles we use, how we post them, how do we engage others. But that led to a lot of questions. We know that currently there are pretty limited tools, Facebook and our page on the town website, which is managed by the town, so we don't have direct access. We know we can post on the Wakefield community calendar, and we know we can always send articles to the local newspaper. But here are some of the questions, and these are questions we're hoping you can help us answer. And we want to know what other collaboration and sharing tools can the commissioners use when working with each other and working with partners. And then what other additional communication vehicles and channels are available that maybe we could start to use that aren't currently part of the toolbox. And then beyond the boards and committee list on the town website, because we realize it's not a comprehensive list. With whom should we or does the WHRC communicate and collaborate? So we're planning on, like I said, we need guidance from you on tools that are available that we may not even be aware of, or that we have permission to use, like say a Google Sheets type of document. What other vehicles or channels might we try to use that we currently don't have access to? And finally, like I said, a more comprehensive list of who we would like to communicate with and collaborate with. So our next step was to report to you all this. And like I said, we've prepared minutes. They didn't get into the packet, but you all will get these. And we're seeking your input on all of this. And now I ask Jen and Kim to add to that.
Jen, you want me to jump in? Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we just started throwing around, like, we know that there's probably an email list somewhere. You know, we know that people post on Facebook. I think we're just trying to get a feeling for it. Would it be beneficial to have some kind of, like Sherry said, like a guideline? You know, it says like this far out, if it's our event, it gets posted here, this happens, everybody does this kind of thing. And like Sherry said, you know, is it possible, because I know collaboration tools, I'm still new in learning all of this, but, you know, would it be possible to create, like Sherry said, either a Google Sheets or even a calendar where you guys have probably a lot of knowledge on events that we might not even know about? Is there a way where someone could maybe put in the calendar, you know, throw something in if they know of something or have an idea? Or does that go against kind of like that whole idea of us collaborating?
Like, for instance, I don't have a deep knowledge of different kinds of religious holidays. And so when I was putting together a spreadsheet of all of these different holidays and commemorations, I didn't, in some cases, I didn't know if something was major, minor, important, not important, who I was leaving out. And we want to be as inclusive and as diverse as we can possibly be, because that's at the core of what the WHRC is respecting all of that in diversity and including the world.
I think one of the points on the Google, like a calendar, you know, if we have sort of this calendar that says, you know, typically, especially with certain events that like change dates every year, it's like the third Tuesday or something like that. If we can go then populate that, or if, you know, somebody's like, oh, hey, Wave is doing this event and we want to add that to our calendar. So we remember to like cross promote it. And so we can kind of have a calendar of when we're posting on Facebook, what are we cross promoting? What are we just making a native post on? What are we promoting of our upcoming events, that sort of thing. And whoever's in charge of doing that, it might be multiple people. So how do we kind of keep a running list if we can't collaborate on a document, and have people add to it as things come up? Does everything have to come to this meeting and say, hey, I'm going to add these 5 things to an event? It's very cumbersome if we're trying to keep like an active communication with the community going.
And of course, first of all, you know, there are different groups doing different things, but we have similar purposes. And it would make sense if we didn't work across purpose and we didn't replicate things that are already being done, but instead cooperated together. So for instance, we have months that we don't have as a commission, specific things on our to-do calendar, but another group may want our help, and then that becomes part of our calendar too. Because our goal is really to have something going on, and not something huge, like, you know, Martin Luther King Day is a big celebration. It's one of our signature events. International Day of the Woman, it's a signature event. Pride Month is a signature event. And I believe our Indigenous people will become a signature event. We can't do all signature events. We're not that big, and we're volunteers. But other groups do things in between, and I think it would be wonderful if we could coordinate even better with these other groups. And after listening to the people on the street speaking yesterday, when I was listening to the MLK, I was thinking how wonderful it would be if this whole notion of the diversity and inclusion inclusiveness of Wakefield expanded, because we all work together on these projects. And then again, there's the logistical stuff that Kim was working on, which is we need to give people some guidelines and guideposts on how to do the things, how to get the promotions out, so we're not constantly reinventing.
Yeah, I don't know what to
That's a
respond to
lot.
first. It's a lot. It's a lot. Exactly.
It's a lot.
So I think in terms of one question that I had is in terms of the collaboration, were you talking about collaboration just among HRC members, or are you talking about collaboration within between different groups in town?
Both.
Okay.
Because we would like to share like the work the subcommittee is doing, and if we could possibly, like I did individual work, Jen is doing work on that. We're trying to combine it, but we don't have tools, so to speak. We're using our individual software, whatever we have. I did an Excel spreadsheet. Jen, I think, put the work into Google Docs, but how can we then share that with the WHRC and get input from them to help us fill it out and round it out? And then when we do a project with another group, how can we collaborate better without always having to have, well, in the future, we hope live meetings, but that we can collaborate electronically, because that's the way things are right now. And I think we'll be way into the future.
Yeah. I think too, from our perspective, at least being able to, the WHRC being able to input into the calendar, or getting other town or other groups events, even if we don't allow them to get into the calendar, if we see somebody post something on Facebook or something, somebody from the WHRC can say, oh, hey, listen, I noticed this, put it in the Google Calendar or whatever, and put it in a note that assigns to somebody or something like that. I mean, we established, I think, between the three of us too, that there's not a really great overall calendar for everybody in the town to pull from, but at least if we can start our own, we'll feel like we have a little bit more connection to everything that's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I do think the town calendar has definitely come a long way compared to what it was a few years ago. So it certainly is a start. And I know Jen McDonald's is incredibly responsive when we ask her to add things. But that's the general town calendar. And if we want one of our own, then yeah, I think we should look into that. I think we should also just double check in with Tom Mullen just to make sure in terms of, if we're just adding things to a calendar, does that, at least in my mind, that doesn't count as a deliberation, but I'd want to double check with him so that we're on the right side of the open meeting law. But I like the start that we're, that we're on.
And we're not just talking about actual events, but we're talking about, in general, commemorations, national ones.
Right. Yeah.
When I was doing website searches, and there are many, many websites that talk about holidays and commemorations, there's something for, I almost just for fun put National Short Girls Day because I'm only 5'2". But it's just, there's so many things. And just to raise, I think part of our goal also is to raise awareness within the community as a whole about how rich our world is.
Right.
I think we have an educational mission as well. But I was wondering, as we're talking, do we have a contact list of the people who are the leaders of these other like-minded groups? Not just the ones on the town website, because not all of them are up there. Like I didn't see WAVE on the town website because I don't think it's a town board or commission. It's a separate organization. So I think we also really, really need some way to just even reach out to those folks and say, we're doing this. Would you like to at least contribute information to us?
Yeah.
If not collaborate, at least invite them to contribute information, share their calendar with us, and so we can then see what they're doing. And I don't think we're all sharing right now because we don't seem to have the tools, and yet the tools are out there.
Right.
Jeremy.
So yeah, just 2 points. One, as I was listening about the promotion thing, I think I recall that the town was hiring a position. Is that right, Maureen? That a person to help out with some of this stuff. Did you guys hire?
The economic development
Yeah, we
person?
hired an
Yeah.
economic development, an economic and community economic development and community manager. And so her name's Erin. I don't know, Maria,
Right,
if you were
Erin,
able to
right.
reach out, but the goal was that she will reach out to commissions and boards. I think she's a great place to start. I know you guys, there are so many great events. I just caution you, like, it's not the best, but the town that the library runs does have an events page. And I just want you to be cautious of not reinventing a wheel, and also like not getting tied up in like buying, computer programs, when I really, like, that's not the mission of the work. I hear you, like, we need to improve it. Maria's right, we've come a long way, but it's really the library. And I think we've talked about this before, but it would be so great to invite somebody from the librarian, like ask Catherine McDonald, who would like to come and sit in on a next meeting, because I think there's such room for collaboration there, and they run the community events page. And so that's maybe a conversation to have with someone from her team.
Yeah. And the second point, if I can just continue, is that as part of our MLK virtual service project, we started a list of the community organizations around that might want volunteers. But as part of that list, we had envisioned that this would be a list that would be a live list that gets updated and is a link from our Facebook page or our town page. And, this is not only a list of organizations, but we tried to get the contact person. So this goes back to what Sherry mentioned about having a list of, point people at WAVE, or, the Independence Day Committee, which is Brian, who won the, thing earlier, or something like this. So we've started this Excel, or I guess it's a Google Doc with the list. So I think it shows that the HRC in Wakefield is coming to a point where it's no longer what are we doing, but it's how are we doing it. You're 5 years in, and these are the things that are fine tuning the way we do things. So I think it's a great discussion to have. And some of that came up in our subcommittee about how do we track this, who do we contact, who does the legwork. So it's all valid things. And I think we went to the library for a portion of this, right, Benny? So the library was a great resource. So it goes back to what Marion said, that it's already there in some places. So we just need to figure out the best method to make it available to others. And I don't know if the town has ever thought about having, our church has a church council where every few months, the leader of each sort of team comes together and gives an update on what's going on. And I don't know if the town has ever tried to pull together a formal meeting where people just get together. It wouldn't be in the same room now, but it would be like the town, a Zoom meeting where, the head person or a dedicated person from each committee comes together and says, this is what's going on. This is what we're finding as challenges. It's a kind of a way to share. I know everybody is extremely busy with their own subcommittees and stuff, but that's the kind of thing where you could have all of the sort of, committees represented, or whoever wants to go to this, and a way to really put out there in person the contact, what's going on in the committees, and sort of the challenges they're facing or whatnot. So I don't know if it's ever been, proposed in Wakefield. I don't know how they pull it together, but maybe that's something to think about proposing in the future.
Yeah, can I respond to that, Maria? Sorry, Jeremy, that's a great idea. Because the pandemic, pre-pandemic, we did Wakefield 101. I don't know how long ago you moved to town, but so we've done it for 3 years, where new residents are get an invitation and go to the library, and all the departments and committees and commissions and nonprofits are there. So it's like an informal, like HRC sits next to WAVE, sits next to like the soccer association, right? So you're all kind of, and the churches and synagogue are all invited. So that's one way. I love your idea. Julie Smith Galvin, who's my fellow counselor and the vice chair, she actually was tasked with kind of making the committees run smoother. And just because of pandemic, it's been put on hold. But that's a great suggestion. You know, we invite committees and commissions to come in front of us every year. So I know Maria's been in talks about coming in front of us and like yearly, but that's interesting for all of them to talk together. So I will bring that idea back. I like it. I don't think we've really done it. And I think there's a lot to be learned from groups, from each other, right? Like that's, I mean, there is shared learning. And that being said, this group does a lot more than any other group in town does. I would quite confidently say you probably are one of the most performing commissions out there. So, but yeah, I think that's a great idea. I will bring it back, and we will think about something to do, maybe even before we get out of this pandemic world via Zoom.
Jen, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, the whole point of one of the points of the calendar when we're trying to put together like our annual calendar was more, what do we do? What do we plan each year? But then also in terms of our communication, because it was a communication subcommittee, what are we posting about? And I feel like we're just kind of willy-nilly sometimes reactive to things. So it was really to get more proactive on what are those things every year that every year we know we're going to make a post on the Trans Day of Remembrance. Every year we know we're going to make a post on Ramadan. Every year we know we're going to make a post on something. So that's the calendar, like what started their calendar, and not like local events that so-and-so is having a meeting on the planning board or something like that. And so, and to that point though, I think we would use the community calendar to cross-reference and say, what new is coming up this year that might not be on our calendar, right? So it's certainly, I just want to clarify, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. The community calendar was certainly in our discussion as a resource to use. It was more outside of those events, what else would we be proactively posting about that relate to our mission, right? So which of those holidays and remembrances and things relate to human and civil rights, right? Mm-hmm. Or to Sherry's point, to educate our community on things they might not know about so much, to expand views. And
yes, yeah, we're not trying to replicate the community calendar. We're trying to create more of a comprehensive celebratory calendar of all the things that we can commemorate. Again, it's more of an educational tool, as Jen said.
And also, if we support other groups, when we have an event like the MLK Day or something like that, if we can strengthen those bonds a little bit, we might be able to get some more shares out of some other community groups, which then increases everybody's reach. So it's really just everybody winning. That's what we want. The subcommittee just wants everyone to win.
I like it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And to your point, Jen, I realized it was probably towards the end of December that I realized that International Human Rights Day on December 10th, or it's the anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights. Yeah, totally passed me by, and I take ownership for that. So yeah, that right there is a great example to have this calendar. One other resource that
on our list.
I'm sorry.
I said Sherry, is that on our list?
Yeah.
It's not, it is on our list, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's December 10th. I know it's in December. The UN Declaration of Human Rights. That's what it is.
What was that date again, Maria? We got to put it in something, in a calendar or Google Doc, something.
Yeah.
So the question goes back to what tools can we use? Are we allowed to do so we do it properly and get more input, because it's hard. The three of us can work really hard, but again, we need others to help us with this too. And I wrote down that, yeah, why not Wakefield 101? They have a list of all the community organizations beyond the ones just on the website, correct? And then, and then, of course, what Jeremy said, I mean, they've done all this legwork too. But we wouldn't know that if we weren't sitting here in this meeting, and we have no way of reaching out to other people and saying, do you have this, before we do it all over again.
Yeah, one other resource related to that I wanted to mention that I wasn't familiar with was what Wendy Dennis, I think she said wakefield.org. she was talking about that in her presentation yesterday, and I had never heard of it either. So, and I looked, and that also has a pretty lengthy list of organizations in Wakefield. So that might be another good place to kind of cross-check and see what other what organizations are out there that we can collaborate with.
There's also wonderful photographs on that site.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Historical ones, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll also say that I got the list, Jeremy mentioned this, the list from the Library of Community Organizations, which is pretty out of date, but they're updating it this year as part of the Connect to Your Community project. So they're going to have like an extremely thorough and updated list of community orgs, including, you know, stuff that's kind of in our wheelhouse, and then other random stuff like the 4-H club, and like it's like a really long list. So that will be a helpful resource.
Yeah, but the 4-H club would make sense if we're doing anything about hunger or children. You know,
Right.
There's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's a helpful list because it's stuff that at least I wouldn't like. There's plenty of things on there that I wouldn't have like thought to reach out to, or that I didn't know existed and stuff. So it's good.
Yeah. I mean, it is mind-boggling how many commemorations there are for how many different things. And for ethnicities, I mean, there's whole months that are supposed to be celebration of all people Greek or Italian or Irish or Jewish. It's just like a whole big, there's so much.
Go ahead.
I hear a lot of really beautiful work happening, and I just want to raise a point of caution when it comes to either cultural groups or religious groups, that when we're pointing people towards things and those things don't belong to us, it can sometimes become appropriative, and we want to be very, very careful, right? Like things that don't belong to us and that we don't know a lot about, sometimes in our well-intentioned efforts to say like, hey, learn about this thing, we are instead encouraging engagement that wouldn't be welcomed from someone within that group. And so I just want to raise a caution there as we're talking about like this full massive list of, for instance, like religious celebrations that we don't necessarily know whether if those are groups that are not present in our Wakefield community, and we don't know whether folks have welcomed people outside of that group into participation. It is really not ours, and we really want to be careful about what we share.
I think this actually, to me, would be an awesome topic for an event or something that we could put on, like, what's the line between celebration and appropriation? This is like my big question that I brought up last year was like, what's the difference between celebrating and tokenizing? Like some kind of, I don't know, little discussion. I don't think it has to be like a huge giant event, but I think that that's the type of topic that seems like very much in the HRC's wheelhouse, because I'm going to be honest, I think that we fall on the wrong side of that line, you know, a not insignificant amount of the time. And I think it is our responsibility to better ourselves and our own, both individually and as a body, like our own sort of stance and understanding about like what is appropriation versus celebration, what is tokenizing, you know, and to be able to kind of bring that conversation to Wakefield, because I think also in a very homogeneous setting, not that Wakefield is homogeneous in every regard, but like it's a very, very white place, you know, it's a very, there's like certain ethnicities that are represented very highly, things like that. So like in a fairly homogeneous community that is trying to kind of like bridge that gap over to like celebrating diversity, that's like a tough, it's like exactly what Elizabeth was just talking about. So I think that Wakefield is like rife for having a conversation like this. That could be really like juicy, I think.
I really agree with that, Benny. And I actually think that that is more what the HRC is for, right? More than like, let me tell you a snippet of information about all of these many things, that this work that helps us really wrestle with our own starting point and what we can engage with and what we shouldn't engage with because it's not appropriate, that's real work for the HRC to do, and that's really meaty. And that is like, it doesn't have to be a major event to have a pretty significant impact in our own learning of ourselves and our own understanding of our neighbors.
It's like, I don't know, it seems like an opportunity to, I don't know, either reach out to the library to see if they'd want to partner on a talk about this, or what do people think?
I think it'd be great. You know, I think there's a lot of people in the town that know that this group exists, but probably aren't 100% sure of what the group does or what it's supposed to do or where its lines are drawn. And I think we're all stuck online. So the more, you know, why not take advantage of partnerships like that can help kind of educate, you know, and things like that. The library would be great, really, if they'd be willing to do it.
Yeah, I am more than happy to reach out to them to see if there's a possibility, if they have some thoughts on this. They're just like, whenever I have a conversation with any of the librarians there, they just have some great insights and about someone, either speakers or kind of how we could come together on this. So I'm happy to kind of get the ball rolling with that.
The Conversations About Whiteness course, which several of us have taken, also delves into this topic in terms of race relations when you are a true ally versus trying to make it your movement. It's not really your movement. But how do you become supportive without appropriating the event as your own mission and cause?
All right, lots of great ideas and lots of good
Well, we're
directions.
going to meet again on February 1st.
Okay.
Okay, because we know that this is a long-term project. This is not something that happens overnight. But if you could give us guidance on, like I said, find out what tools we would be allowed to use and means of communications that we're allowed to use so that we don't overstep.
Yeah. And as a partial answer to that question, I might just jump ahead down to the, under the chair's comments, the central electronic storage. So as of, I think on Friday, the IT department was able to, they got back to me in terms of what they have put in place for a possible storage for electronic documents for the HRC. Now, this is something that once we put the documents in there, we can't edit them because that's considered collaboration. But like if we wanted 5 years of the International Women's Day programs, they could all be there. So it's not, it may not meet all of our needs, and certainly something where we're adding different either like recognition of different events, something that we might be editing, that might not be the appropriate place, and we can keep having conversations to figure out kind of where the best places to store these things. But in terms of our long-term documents from like the past 5 years, it looks like they sent me the instructions to open it, and it's just been a really chaotic time that I haven't had a chance to open that and really explore what it is. So I only have a snippet of information for everyone, but we are moving forward with that. Jen, go ahead.
Yeah, I just what I was just trying to figure out, once we know we might not know the answer yet, but is that something that then when people come on board, they get like access granted, and when they leave the commission, they would get access taken away. So we could really make it that it's just current people have access. So that's question one. And then question two would be, even if we can't collaborate on it, but if there's things that sort of evolve over time, like even policies and procedures, we just voted to add a line in there, right? So I'm assuming, but this is a question, if we have like an archive folder or like policies and procedures folder, and it's like old versions, and then we can always keep the newest version on top but have older versions just archived there. So that's just a question on how we might be able to use it. Not certainly active in process going back and forth on writing our next program or something like that, but once that's written and once it's published, then we can publish it to this storage site.
Right.
Does that
Right.
sound okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
had a
think those are
similar
really
question
important
about
questions to, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I had a similar question about versions. I was thinking if a newer version comes up, can you delete the old and say this is the newest version? But I think what Jen said, keeping the older there as archives is probably the way that we go on this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think both of those are all really important questions that we definitely want to answer. And I might have some more answers for you between now and the next meeting. Once they sent the access just to me first to explore and to kind of see if it's user friendly first. And given that I am not a tech person, I'm a good person to try it on. And then once I look through that, then I'll be able to explore some more and share it with everyone, and we can get our questions answered. So thank you for those, the questions. They're important to look at. Okay, just wanting to keep an eye on the time. Within the communications subcommittee update, I just wanted to also let people know, I don't know if you started seeing them around town yet, but the Yana's posters are going up around town. We have them, the town has approved them to go in the kiosks. We are in the process, we'll start distributing them to the schools. They have approved that. Sherry has gone around to a ton of businesses in downtown Wakefield, most of whom have agreed to put their posters up, So Elizabeth is helping out with the Clergy Council. Thank you, Elizabeth. So you will start seeing those around town. So congratulations, Yana, and thank you.
I have a question. Has anyone been to side door service lately? Because I delivered some to the library too for side door service.
I haven't been recently, so.
Anybody? No, okay.
No, I'll keep an eye out next time I go.
Okay, because they asked for 2, which I thought, oh, great.
Good.
I was there on Friday. I don't remember seeing it there on Friday to pick up something, so, or was it Thursday, but one like recently.
Okay, because I left it for them, it's over a week ago that I was, and it's not a ton of businesses. It was rather selective because like Elizabeth, I'm a little hesitant to go into too many places, and I wanted to make sure they were places that had high visibility. But like, for instance, at Brothers, they actually put it right by their cash register. North Avenue Diner, they put it in their front door. I mean, so they were looking and saying, wow, these are beautiful. And I said, well, I will be back in April with a new beautiful one. So every 3 months, I will bring them a fresh one. Thank you, Yana, for your just wonderful artwork.
Yeah, I know we've got a space at my church outdoors where we're ready to post it, and I'm just waiting to hear back from my colleagues as well. And I know I got the electronic version, so that's going up on our website and on our Facebook page, and I will be passing that along. I haven't sent that email yet, but I'll be passing that one along to my colleagues as well.
And if you tell me, I mean, distribution is a little bit of an issue. If you tell me how many you want printed, I can leave printed copies for you, but I'm not sure how then you would distribute them. Just like with Colleen in the schools, I could provide you with as many as you need for the schools. I think Maria suggested 10 because a couple of the schools are bigger, but we can print them. I mean, I have an account with Staples, so it's a little less expensive for us. And I can print as many as you need, or like I said, I can do it electronically. And I actually have written a brief little article for the newspaper indicating we're launching this. And that if there's a business that's seen these, and I'm sending them a picture of it, I hope they'll publish it. If they've seen these and they would like to also participate in the program, to get in touch with the WHRC. And I'm also going to be sending the same invitation to our Chamber of Commerce and saying, if please put this in your newsletter. If any of your members feel they have a visible place and would like to participate in this program, just get in touch with us. So the artwork will have life beyond the 10 or 12 places it's in right now.
Awesome. I'll get a number from my clergy colleagues and I'll work with them.
Okay.
If I'll just coordinate with you, Sherry, on how I can get them myself, and then I'll work with my colleagues to get them out to them.
I can leave them at town hall because they have a greeter.
Maria, did you?
I would drop them on your front doorstep if you'd like. I would drop them off.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Do you want me to reach out to the secretaries? Because in Doug's, Maria and I had emailed about this in terms of the schools. So do you want me to reach out with the secretaries and just say, hey, how many do you need? And then we'll just go further on that. Or did you reach out to them?
No, I haven't reached out to them. So if you want to do that, I just assumed one for each of the elementary schools because they're pretty small. And then I just rounded and did estimated like 2 for Galvin, 2 for the high school, and then also Doyle.
And so those are printed already?
No, well, I don't know. Sherry, are they printed already?
I didn't because I was waiting to hear how many I should do for clergy council and just get them all done at one time.
Okay. All right. When that's done, I can deliver them to the secretaries and sort of forge that way in there. Because they we've already got permission for them to be distributed and then posted. So, so I can do that once you're ready, Sherry.
Yeah, and we have a slightly bigger version. The standard version is 8.5 by 11, but we had to make a slightly bigger version for the kiosk. So if you're ever near any of the town kiosks, you'll see it's a little bit bigger. It's 11 by 8.5 by, it's legal. It's
11 by 17. I think.
Yeah, I had to put a bigger border around it because I could only proportionately stretch her artwork without ruining it a certain way. It had to be proportional.
Yeah, and if Colleen, if you think we should do more than 10, if you want to check in with the secretaries, if they want more, then if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be great.
And right now, sort of the way that students are entering and exiting buildings is very, it's restricted. So they might say 1 for now because we might have, this entrance, especially at our elementaries. I think it's pretty. So yeah, but I'll tell them, they could reach out and we can get them more if they need them. Okay. So thank you, and thank you, Yana.
Sherry, you mentioned that there are 2 different sizes. Do you want to stick with the smaller, or should I be asking clergy council folks about which size would meet needs? I know that for us, like we don't have people in our building except for the candy maker and a caterer right now. So like we've got an outdoor space that we can post it, which makes it public facing, and that's great. But it also means that something larger is better.
It is not that much larger, and I can provide an electronic file so you can see what it looks like. Like I said, it's in the kiosk. So you will see it in the kiosk.
Yeah,
in town.
I don't live there. So
you don't live right in Wakefield. Okay, I'm sorry.
I only come up because I'm not in the church building. I only come up when I really need to. And winter being what it is, there's not allowed outdoor meetings.
I will write myself a note to email to you the larger version.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And if, like I said, I would have to make a special order to get these done because the other ones I just do in bulk. I send the file over to Staples electronically and say, make how many dozen I need. It's easier if it's all the same size, but I can do the larger ones as well if it's a display place that needs, like I said, the kiosk needed larger ones.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any idea. We've got a place where there's a quotation usually outside of our building, and so that's our it's a pretty big spot.
Well, these are not poster sizes. I mean, these are not huge. Well, they're still not huge.
I understand that, but in that, I will post whatever is available there, right? I want to be part of this, but then within that, like the larger size of that, if that's available, makes it more visible, right?
That's right.
I'm happy to post something that's small no matter what, because I believe in being engaged in the town. But I also like want to catch more eyes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, that was when Maria and I discussed the different businesses, we talked about being somewhat selective because not every place has, I mean, obviously a place like Cravings or the Hearts, very public, or the UPS store, lots of people in and out of these places. And we were trying to be more selective. But again, we will make them available upon request as well. And we've taken enough time on this. Okay.
All right.
I had a written report for this as well, so I wasn't going to talk, but okay.
All right. Well,
Sorry.
thank you for all the work that you guys have already done. So we look forward to lots of good stuff. So moving to number 7, networking with other human rights commissions. So Jeremy had asked me to put this on the agenda because, and I thought it was a good idea because we have, so a couple months ago, Linfield sat in on our meeting to find out more because they are interested in starting a human rights commission. North Reading had reached out, someone from North Reading had reached out because they were looking to possibly start a human rights commission. We already have the monthly meetings with the Massachusetts Human Rights Coalitions and commissions. And Jeremy, I think you had said a friend of yours from Stoneham was looking for some more networking. So so I just wanted to kind of start the conversation about possible additional collaboration. I know that the Friday morning, so for those of you who don't know, the Mass Human Rights Coalitions, they meet on the first or second Friday in the morning. And first or second Friday of each month in the morning. And those meetings are great, but they can be a hard time to fit into a schedule. And I didn't know if people liked the idea of either getting more involved with them or also reaching out to some of the towns closer to us, maybe either north of Boston or North Shore, something like that, to see about possible room for collaboration. And Jeremy, if there's something in particular that you want to add, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I would just add that, you know, the one in Stoneham is a bit younger than us, so they often look to us for an example. So, you know, my thought was, even if it's an informal, you know, surrounding towns get together every so often, just again to compare notes and you know, answer questions. What have you found works? What hasn't worked? You know, what challenges do you have? So because they're trying to do a similar thing, and you know, the nice thing is they're looking to Wakefield as sort of a big brother or big sister, and you know, partner in it, and someone who's been through starting up a commission in town, and they see us as, you know, somewhat mature. So you know, and I think a lot more benefit would come out of a smaller local group. You know, the larger Massachusetts one is important too, but you know, like Benny said, the demographics and stuff from Wakefield to Stoneham to Melrose, they're not all that different. So the same types of you know, challenges here are similar to the town next to us, versus, you know, the challenges in Boston are very different than the challenges in Wakefield. So that's just my take on it. So
yeah, absolutely. And certainly in terms of when the Wakefield Human Rights Commission started, the Melrose had already started several years prior to us. So we kind of looked to them. And I mean, it's a little different because they're a city as opposed to a town, but in terms of the demographics and some of the issues that they were facing, I know that Bill Chetwin had a lot of conversations with the Melrose Human Rights Commission in kind of creating the Wakefield Human Rights Commission. So kind of passing that on. I like the idea of that.
I also wonder, I don't know, they're like not quite in the same like lane as us entirely, but the Network for Social Justice, who came to talk to us last year, they started as a thing. They weren't called the Human Rights Commission. They were called like the Diversity Council or something like that. They had some kind of other name, but they started
The Winchester one?
yeah. And now they're incorporated as a nonprofit, and they do like really, really amazing anti-racism community organizing work. And I think if we're collaborating with folks who that we can both teach but also learn from, like I would love to learn from them.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. I think Reading also has one that is not, I think there's been a lot of back and forth in Reading about whether or not they're going to be a public, or a government body versus I think maybe a nonprofit. And I'm blanking on their name. It's not Human Rights Commission. It might be Human Relations
Advisory Committee or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's a town body, but yeah, I feel like there are definitely a lot of groups in the immediate area right around us that it would be great to be able to network and collaborate with. So yeah, let me think. Yes, I definitely like the idea of collaborating with them, and I'm happy to reach out to any or all of them in the surrounding communities to see if they have thoughts and report back to the group next month and see what they have to say. Okay, sound good? Okay. I'm aiming for an 8:30 end time, so I'm going to try and get through the rest of the agenda items. So number 8, the fall speaker series with the Unitarian Universalists. So this is something that we've done. We did not do this previous fall just because of everything going on with the shutdown. And Elizabeth, I'm definitely not looking to put you on the spot, but I wanted to see if there's interest in maybe doing another speaker event. It's usually in October. And in the past, we've done it around transgender issues. I think the most recent one we did was around trafficking. I think the Anti-Defamation League, I believe, was one year, and I can't remember if it was October or April, but so it's something that we've partnered with before, and if somebody wanted to reach out to see if Elizabeth, if you wanted to ask the I don't know, I can't remember if it was the social justice group within the UU church that we partnered with.
I think it was last year.
Okay.
Well, I can speak to that some. I know this is a thing that they're really proud of partnering with the town on, and it's something that they want to continue. So it's when I started with them in August, it was one of the things they told me about. And one of the things that they said, we love this. We can't do it this year because of COVID. We look forward to continuing it in the future. I don't know what our timeline will look like yet in terms of when we will be back in our building. So that's sort of a challenging place, but we also have the ability, I mean, we have the ability here too, right? To do some things electronically if we need to. So that's certainly a thing that I think giving it more than 1 year off would be really sad, even if we can't do it in person safely.
All right, great. Well, we've at least got the ball rolling on that, so great. Okay. For my comments, just a couple things. So we already talked about the electronic storage, and I will have more of a report back next month for everyone about that. The book readings for the upcoming year. So if we could, I think just to focus primarily on February for Black History Month. Nicole, I know that you and I had agreed that we would reach out to the library. I have not done that yet, and I apologize. It's a crazy month. So let's plan, you and I, to talk about reaching out to the library about doing book readings and seeing about people who might be interested in reading, whether it's commissioners or volunteers, looking into possibly doing that, doing a few book readings throughout the month of February. And let me see. Before I jump ahead, does anybody have anything that they wanted to say about the book readings or anything like that for February? Okay.
I'd like to volunteer if you need a reader.
Great, thank you. Thanks. The one thing that I forgot to put on the agenda, I just wanted to let people know that we have for the training active bystanders for January 28th, as of this morning, we have 13 people registered for that. For the February 6th training, we have 2 people registered. So please continue to spread the word about that. And three people for February 6th. Thank you, Sherry. So please continue to spread the word. We do still have room. I think the maximum is 22 in each session. So so obviously we have a little more than half for the 28th. We have plenty of room for the 6th. So we'll do some more postings on the Facebook page to remind people. But yeah, there is plenty of room. And if anybody hasn't registered yet, please feel free to sign up for those.
Just say quick, I mean, I know we posted it just because we wanted to give people lead time to sign up. So, but now that MLK Day, Curtis Scott King Day is over, we can start promoting that more. And I would just say for all of you, if you see those posts, if you share it within your networks, it just gets more views. And if people see that you're going, then they'll be like, oh, what's that? Maybe I'll go too. So we did create the event pages so you could sign up there, and then, you know, registration still through Eventbrite, but at least Facebook, we have event pages for them. And then also just like a post and a flyer that you can share that picture, and it'll kind of post that to your own wall as well.
Jen, today I was trying to share it and there wasn't a share button. I was going to ask you about it today.
For what?
Yeah, it might have been, I might
post?
have seen someone else's and that's why I couldn't share it, but
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't share it.
Or if it's in a private group, you can't share out of the group. But if you go to the original, if you go to like the HRC Facebook feed, you should be able to share it from there.
Has this been at all promoted through our local press? Is it on our community calendar through the library?
Ooh. See, Benny, I was like telling you, make sure you put the MLK Day on the calendar, and I didn't put this on the calendar. So good point. I don't have, does anybody want, do we want to ask if somebody wants to volunteer to do like a write-up for the item, to submit that on what it is?
They can actually use what's pretty much on the website. It doesn't.
You just need to submit it.
I can do that. I'll send it to you, Jen, and you can then edit it as you feel.
Okay, I will add it to the community calendar.
Okay.
It's definitely on our website already.
I know, I saw that too, because I was looking at our website for something. I'm like, oh, Maria must have already asked Jen McDonald to put it up there.
All right.
Yeah, this won't be a heavy lift because the language is already there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing in the, I guess, going to the matters not anticipated, I should have put this on the agenda. So March is International Women's Month, Women's History Month, and that's usually, we've done an event for the past 5 years. So I know it's a little early, but not super early to start plans for that. So I just wanted to see if people were interested in signing up to be on a subcommittee to plan that event. It's okay if you don't have any ideas of what you want the event to look like yet, if you know you just want to be involved. But I thought at this meeting, we should at least put together a subcommittee and then kind of get the ball rolling with that.
I can volunteer.
And please don't feel forced to volunteer either.
No.
I'll work with Teresa again.
I'll volunteer too. I'll jump on that little subcommittee if you guys need some help.
All right, fantastic. So Teresa, Nicole, Kim. I would love to be on it. I have to double check. I've been looking through previous years of notes and minutes from the HRC. I think there was one meeting where we decided the chair should not be on any subcommittees. I need to double check that. But I would love to be involved with it as well. So I will circle back if I can do that. All right.
I don't know that I have a lot going on. I don't know if I have the time commitment to be on like a full-on thing, but I have, I was sort of the subcommittee chair last year, so I have a lot of information that I could pass along. So I probably would want to just raise my hand as like a resource and maybe do some sort of transitional call or something like that with the subcommittee.
Great.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else under matters not anticipated?
I don't know, this isn't a matter, but I just, something that we learned, and I know Maria, I forwarded it to you, but that subcommittee minutes also need to be approved on our main body in our main meetings, even though only the people who can vote on them were in the subcommittees. So we're planning on adding that to sort of our handbook, if you will, or orientation on processes. And so just so you know, so we'll approve the minutes of the prior two communications subcommittees, and then probably also the MLK subcommittee meetings, all the ones that you had, so we can get all that cleared up and ready to post. And then, yeah, so Maria, I might just send to you, because I created a document with sort of how to submit agendas and submit minutes. So I'll add that to that document as well. And so maybe we vote on that next time to approve to add to our, I don't know if it goes into policies and procedures. So maybe it's not that, but like, just so I could show, we could put it in the packet so we could show it to everyone on the next call.
I think that makes sense. Great.
It seems like the kind of thing, it's procedures. It's policy set by
procedure.
the town for
Yeah.
procedures. So it really does belong in there for everyone's reference.
Yep. Okay. Anything, anyone, any other thoughts that people wanted to add? Okay. Benny, do you want to go over the action list?
Okay, so I have, what do I have? I have, Maria's gonna get the flyer for the Black Student Union fundraiser and post it on our Facebook page. Maria is going to reach out to the library to see about the possibility of some kind of joint event around appropriation and tokenizing versus celebrating diversity. What else? We've got Maureen is going to bring it up to the town, this idea of having some kind of like joint meeting where somebody from each commission or group can come together to talk about what we're doing and everything. Colleen is going to check in with the secretaries from the different schools to see how many of those posters they want or need and communicate that back to Sherry so that she can get them printed. Maria is going to reach out to the other HRCs about putting together some kind of networking opportunity. Maria, you have a lot of things on this list, Maria. I'm just going to say that. You are going to learn more about the electronic storage thing and get back to us with the details. Nicole and Maria are going to contact the library and try to put something together for book readings for Black History Month. Jen is going to submit the active bystander training to the community calendar. I don't feel like, is somebody going to write a write-up for the item? Oh, Sherry's going to do it. Okay. Sherry's going to do a write-up for the item on that one. And Nicole, Kim, Teresa, and Maria are going to be on the International Women's History Month planning subcommittee with some like initial consultation from Jen or some kind of like brain dump situation. And Jen. Okay, all I wrote is Jen will. And I don't know. I didn't finish the sentence. There's something having to do with the
Oh, I'm gonna send, just before the next meeting, I think when we send out the agenda and stuff, we'll include the updates to the policies for how to submit agendas and minutes properly with the town, according to Sherry Dalton.
Yeah, and good on Sherry Dalton for like figuring out that we clearly didn't know how to do this. She was like, "Have you been approving these?" And I was
Well,
like,
we were approving them within our subcommittee, and then she's like, no, it has to be approved on the full commission, and we didn't know that, so. At least our subcommittee.
And the last one is, oh no, that's it. Those are all the ones I have. Were there any other next steps? Also, Maria, would you like any of those things to be taken off your plate? Because I was like, you have like 4 for every one that anyone else has.
I mean, if there's any of them that you said that people are really dying to jump into, that's totally fine. I'm also fine with my list.
I can, I'll be meeting with Casey from the library on Wednesday. She's actually Thursday because she's our mystery reader for class. So I can kind of get some information with her quickly and get back to you if you want me to start that.
All right. Yeah, that would be great if you don't mind doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's for the Black History Month reading thing.
Yeah.
The other one that I was going to say is I don't mind reaching out about the like appropriation and tokenizing conversation. I will say that I don't know if it's me. I have had a couple experiences where I reached out to someone at the library and got no response, and then someone else reached out and got like an immediate response. So I don't know if they like just don't know who I am and they're like, why is this lady emailing me, or why is this dude emailing me is more likely what they think. But so I'm happy to reach out, but I like don't have a great track record of like establishing communication with the library people.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that.
I do. I hear back very quickly from Catherine. I speak to her quite frequently. So it's not hard for me to ask her if about this on your behalf, or even say to her, you're going to hear from Benny Wheat about this.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the like most helpful ways that it might get Benny in so that she can hear back from the library when she wants to would be for someone to say, hey, I'm CCing Benny on this so that she can hear too. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who she is, but.
Yeah, Maureen did a little bit of this when we were planning the Indigenous Peoples Day event. Maureen was the person who heard back immediately after I did not ever hear back. So yeah, introductions I think are helpful.
Okay. And Benny, I'll talk to you offline exactly what you want me to say to them when, other than, you're going to hear from Benny Wheat.
That sounds good.
I just want to say, Benny, that's 5 years of going to a monthly book club meeting. That's why I get that response.
I have that social capital.
Sherry and Jen and I on our monthly book club, but it's like the longest relationship I've ever had is with that book club. So that's why I get responses back. Can I just ask 2 questions? And I know we're super over, but did somebody write a write-up of MLK Coretta Scott King Day? Somebody, Jen? No.
No, I was like, yes, we need to do that. That's my.
Like if you kind of wrote, because I think it was great, but we have this whole population that might not be on social media. And so just to like, and recognize the award winners, I think that would be great to do and put in the item. I guess it's hard to do pictures, although I wonder if we could get pictures of at least some of the students.
Do some screen grabs. Yeah.
Right.
And then, and I think in that article, it would be great to say the next program's in March and look for any volunteers, because I think one thing that I'm going to encourage all of you to do, because you do, again, so much and you're mighty, small and mighty, is to kind of get some volunteers. Like it sounds like Eileen was one of those, one of those volunteers. But I think if you did an article and said our next event is, in March, and if anyone wants to join, send us an email, I think, you might get some people who, again, aren't on social media or just don't think about helping out And I'm happy to write that. I didn't mean to throw it on someone's plate, but didn't know if it was already being done.
No, I totally had, I was like, event over, great, done. But that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that at all.
This is part of what the communications committee is talking about in terms of what you do, when you do it, that the pre-press,
The
and
post
then of
press.
course post, because it's just as important, because you also want people who did not get to the event to say, I'm sorry I missed it. I want to go next year.
Right.
Or I can watch the video on YouTube.
That's right. If they have social media, right.
And maybe talk about Black History Month too. That's coming up.
Yeah.
And the readings and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So, sorry, Benny, did you volunteer for that or do we still need to?
I can do it. Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, anything else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, motion to adjourn. I have my speaker on.
Do you want to stay longer?
Second.
Second. Okay, so going in order on my screen, myself, yes. Jen?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Benny?
Yes.
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And Faith? Yes, on this chat. Thank you so much, everyone. I know this is a long meeting. Thank you. Thank you again to the subcommittee for a great event and have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.